Garrett Blevins here with week 3, day 3 of the KingRTS split. This is squat and bench day. Usually I do some assistance work, but today just kind of took a little bit slower workout. I think I'm going to be cutting out a lot of the cable work that I do on these days and just focus on the barbell movements. Depth felt really good today, and also speed. I need to look back at some of my previous videos, but I think this is as fast or faster, especially with how deep I'm going on these speed squats, especially the first set. Had a really good first rep on the first set. So only filmed 2 of the 6 sets on my high bar, or low bar rather. This is high bar here for a set of 5. This was much more like a rep day, almost max effort reps. Definitely an RPE 9, maybe 9.5 on these. This was pretty difficult. But this is lower than I've gone on high bar squats as far as depth. And so I'm pretty excited about that. My hips have been feeling good. I worked on mobility for quite a while last night. The way that I do that, I have just a regular old sock that I had, and I put a lacrosse ball in it, tied 2 knots in the sock to keep that lacrosse ball in the end, then put another lacrosse ball in so they're separated by the knots, probably about 1.5 inches, 2 inches of knot, and then tied off a knot at the end. So I have 2 lacrosse balls in one sock, and they're kind of separated. Anyways, I go, I'll lay on the floor, and I'll just work those 2 lacrosse balls into my hip flexors. I'll work them up and down my spine. The reason I separate the 2 balls in the sock is so that I can roll it up and down my spine without actually hitting the bones in my spine. But I was, all in all, pretty happy with how I felt today. My chest was a little tight, so I'm probably going to start rolling out and doing some more massage on my left pec especially. That gave me issues last cycle, and I don't want to have a repeat. The first set of 3, with 345 I think, I did a set of 7 touch and go, and then the last 2 sets I did competition style presses. These are pretty taxing. I was wearing an Under Armour shirt today, and it's kind of sliding on the bench, so on the last set you'll see a green band show up on the bench to help me stay stuck for my close grip work. I'd also say, as you're watching these, and as I was watching them, I really took notice of my lats. I've been making a conscious effort to flare my lats more at the bottom and try to really come down as I go into the bottom of the bench press and squeeze into the lats so I get a little bit of cushioning and then can push out of it. I don't know how effective that is, but I'm definitely being successful right now at flexing my lats through the bench press, and I think that that's been fairly helpful for me. Ended up doing 2 sets of 2 there with the close grip. They felt pretty good as well. I wanted to talk briefly today out of one of Paul's letters. You guys have probably noticed that I like a lot of what he has to say, and I've titled this kind of the upside down world. The reason I say that is, and especially throughout probably 4 or 5 chapters in 2 Corinthians, Paul is explaining how he's not like other people who have come to the church in Corinth. He calls the other people super apostles because they come and they're really good at speaking, and their rhetoric is very impressive, and they come and they request a lot of money. If the church wants them to be there, they have to be paid, and all these things. And what Paul says is, hey, that's a worldly way of thinking. You know, they're coming and they're doing all these big shows, and they're being real interesting and, you know, exciting preachers, but they don't have any power, real power. They don't have any gospel that they're really preaching. What they're coming to do is to show off and then take some money. But instead, what Paul thinks is important for him to boast in and to point out is that he's weak. That he comes and doesn't ask for money, that when he comes and is in hardship, he just works with his own hands. He didn't come with persuasive language. He came in weakness and in simplicity. And in doing so, he was communicating the gospel, because the gospel is about the crucified Christ, not the all-powerful superhero Christ. Sometimes we often make it into that, but Jesus came to serve, not to be served. And so Paul tries to mirror that in his own life and says, therefore, he is content, for when he is weak, then he is strong. Because when he is weak and not depending on his own abilities, he is depending on God as his strength. just as Jesus depended upon God to resurrect him out of the dead. So I've been reading through 2 Corinthians. I really like this book, and I think it's important for me personally to boast in my weaknesses and what God has given me, not to boast in my strengths and what I see as my accomplishments. I think that's a dead-end road, personally. So thank you all for watching. If you liked the video, go ahead and give a like rating. If you have any comments or questions or thoughts, leave me a comment down below and I'll try to get to it. Hope you all are doing well wherever you're at. Blessings.